Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this professional learning session on ethics in action. Today, we're going to discuss ethics in education, specifically how gifts, conflicts of interest, and professional boundaries can affect our work as educators. As educators, we are held to a high professional standard because our work with students, families, public resources, and community stakeholders. Our actions not only affect our own reputation, but also influence public trust in our schools. During this session, we will examine a real world ethics case, three of them to be exact, and we will connect it to the Texas Educators Code of Ethics and discuss realistic scenarios and review expectations for professional conduct on our campus. So, John, I know you are our ag teacher and we are diving into ethics. Have you had training on this before?
Uh, Usually, all the schools I've been to before school starts, we usually kind of hit on it just a little bit in service.
Okay, well, we are going to pick out four specific code of ethics to look at today, and it's all about giving gifts and receiving monies and things of that nature, especially in the ag world, because that happens more often than not.
Yeah.
Hey, so on your PowerPoint, you can see it on your screen, correct?
hmm
Okay. Make sure you have grabbed your handout and printed it.
I did.
Hey, this is for you to take. It's a refresher to keep with you on these specific ethical codes. And just to make sure if you have any problems, you can refer back to this and it tells you how to handle the situations that may arise.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, let's take a deep dive into our slide deck. Okay, our learning objectives for today are understanding ethical issues, reviewing Texas standards, applying decision-making skills that follow the educator's code of ethics, and clarifying expectations. So by the end of today's lessons, you will be able to identify the ethical issues presented in a particular case study I'm going to provide you with. And it's going to explain how the Texas Educators Code of Ethics applies to different issues and evaluate ethical dilemmas using professional judgment, understanding the campus expectations regarding gifts, donations, and conflicts of interest. The purpose of this training is not simply to avoid disciplinary action, it is to strengthen our ethical decision making so we consistently serve our students and communities with integrity. That's what our profession is about. So, our case study review, as you can see the bullet there, what do you think about that?
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. You are correct. Okay, so this particular case study, it involves a teacher in Honolulu who accepted approximately $16,000 from a school volunteer. The school volunteer decided that teachers were underpaid. And so they gave funds to this teacher through multiple cashier checks and deposited into the teacher's personal account. Although the situation may have begun with positive intentions, ethics investigations determined the gifts were connected to the teacher's professional role. The volunteer didn't think the teacher made enough money, so they wanted to give them money. That's the professional role. The teacher was eventually required to repay the funds and pay a penalty for accepting them in the first place. This case reminds us how ethical concerns often arise when professional relationships become personal financial relationships. Even when no harm is intended, the appearance of improperly can damage public confidence in what we do. So, just a quick discussion on this case study. You as an ag teacher, let's say one of your coworkers received a gift of $16,000. Could you see where there would be a conflict of interest there?
I do.
Okay.
Um, Not only that, but it'd make everybody else upset. Like, why didn't we get it?
Yes.
I mean, it's going to cause lots of problems.
It would look like professional gain, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
let's go ahead and key to ethical breakdown. This is personal gifts, conflict of interest, misuse of personal professional relationships. So there are four major ethical concerns with this case. First, the teacher accepted the substantial personal gift. And to me, $16,000 is substantial. Second, a conflict of interest developed because the relationships existed through a school setting. The third, the teacher personally benefited from the relationship. And finally, proper procedures for handling donations were not followed. When educators receive significant personal benefits from individuals connected to their professional role, questions arise about fairness, influence, and professional judgment. Just as you stated, why was that one the only one who got a gift? Why not somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to our next one. Why ethics matter. Ethics protect students, staff, schools, and public trust. Ethics matter because education is built on trust. Parents trust us to act in the best interest of their kids. Communities trust us to use resources responsibly. And students trust us to treat everyone fairly and consistently. When ethical lapses occur, they can impact the school culture, employee morale, and community confidence. Ethical leadership helps create a positive learning environment where decisions are transparent and grounded in professional standards. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay. So, Texas Educator Code of Ethics, for this scenario or the case study that I provided you, I want to focus on four standards. That is 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, and 1.7. So, standard 1.2, and short, it is no personal gain from entrusted resources. So, when this one is specifically broken down by law, it says that educators shall not intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly misuse resources or funds under their control. This standard emphasizes stewardship and responsibility. Educators must avoid situations where resources connected to the professional role provide personal financial gain. Would this be a personal financial gain situation? Do
I think
you?
it could be, depending on, if I use my budget to buy me meals instead of things for a classroom, then yeah.
Even when funds are voluntarily offered, educators must consider how accepting them could be perceived by others. That
Gotcha.
is, how does it look?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to our next standard, 1.4. Do not use professional privileges for personal advantages. The actual code states you should not use institutional or professional privileges for personal advantage. Our positions provide access to students, families, volunteers, and community members. Those relationships exist because our professional role that we are currently in. Using those relationships to obtain personal benefit can create ethical concerns and undermine public trust. Okay, let's move on to 1.5. Avoid gifts, favors that impair professional judgment. Would $16,000 impair your professional judgment?
Yeah, that definitely would.
Let's say that you were the volunteer who gave the money to that teacher had a student in your class coming up next year.
Right.
It would very much so impair it, would it not?
Even if you're aware of it and you try not to, it's still going to affect you.
Yes. So the specific standard states that gifts, gratuities, and favors. Educators should avoid accepting gifts that could influence professional judgment or create the appearance of favoritism. The standard is particularly important because public perception matters. Even if an educator believes a gift will not influence decisions, others may perceive the situation differently. Maintaining trust requires avoiding both actual conflicts and the appearance of conflicts. I know in the ag world, you have a lot of the appearance of conflicts when it comes to animals. And so we're just trying to make sure that this doesn't happen.
Right.
Okay. Let's ask an ethical question. Why do good intentions not eliminate ethical concerns? What is your thoughts on that?
Kind of like I was saying earlier, even if you're aware of it, like that 16,000, you think, okay, that's I can't treat anybody any different because that wouldn't be fair. I mean, subconsciously, it's still going to happen, you know.
Yeah, you're on the right path with that one. Also, to keep in mind, many ethical violations occur because individuals fail to consider how their actions will be interpreted by others. Ethical leadership requires us to think beyond our intentions and consider a broader impact of our decisions. As an educator, we impact many.
Yeah,
That is
it
all
probably
our stake.
happens. Yeah, it probably happens more than you think, and people just are kind of oblivious to it, and you don't realize it until you really sit down and think about it. Like, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have accepted that, or
Yes,
yeah,
sir. You are correct.
yeah. So you've got to be thinking.
Okay, we are going to just review a couple of scenarios just to see how we should react in these, just to help us with our ethical training. On scenario one, what would you do if a parent offers you a $500 gift card?
I think you just have to be honest with them and tell them, this is. I think if they're offering you that anyway, they they're already a fan of yours anyway, so you can tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I can't accept that because of these ethical standards. It's just a teacher thing. Um, you could donate that to school if you'd like to, but I can't personally accept it. I think people would understand that if you handle it right.
If you have a persistent parent who has like the alternate ulterior motive of trying to do, oh, I'm going to do this to maybe help my kid, benefit my kid, and you get some pushback like, no, no, take this, no, no. What's your next step when you tell them no, you can't accept it? Who do you ultimately go to for help in that situation?
I feel like I should call my soup
You go
and
to your
ask
administrator.
him for
Yes.
advice. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's look at scenario two. What do you do if a business wants to donate directly to you as a teacher? I know you deal with donations a lot in the ag world,
I
but
do. Um, all of our stuff, I always tell them to put such and such FFA on it. That way, it's not coming to me. It's going. I'm head over the accounts, but it's not a. It's not a direct to me. It's going to the school. I've never really had any problems with that yet, and
do
yeah, I think you
do
just need to
you
send it to the school in the
so
schools.
if you have the school's name on it and you know that the donation is going, you make sure that you fill out the approved donation required paperwork and get it approved by the superintendent before you accept it, correct?
Right. There's kind of a paper trail there. That way they know it's not going to me in my account.
Okay. Okay, good job. Okay, scenario three. A volunteer offers to pay you to go on a vacation.
That's that's kind of the same as earlier. You just have to tell them, hey, that's being a teacher and being in the public spotlight. I'm just I cannot allow you to do that. That's thank you. That means a lot, but it's how would this be perceived and seen? You know,
Yes,
that'd be
it
awesome if that happened, but
would.
kind of crazy.
Absolutely. You know, things like this happen though. A lot of people will have an ulterior motive where they are trying to make a way for their child and they will offer things like this. Okay, so our campus expectations that we have here, remember to report your concerns. If you have someone offering you money and you're not sure what to do, come to your administrator so you can follow the procedures and the paperwork trail that you need to do to make sure that everything is covered and that the appearance is of integrity.
Yeah.
Okay. As an administrator, it is my responsibility to provide you training and give you the guidance and model ethical behavior by myself following all of the educators code of ethics as well. We are just held to a higher standard, and that is the way of life.
Yeah.
Okay. To improve our campus practices, we need to make sure that we are following this code of ethics because it helps us build trust within our coworkers and our community and all of the stakeholders. We have to be consistent with modeling the code of ethics and just being aware of the situations all the time and how things may be perceived by others. So, with this, I'm going to share my resources. The slide deck will become available to you so you can go and look at the code of conduct and the actual Honolulu teacher violation, $16,000 gift. But as we conclude, I want to encourage you to think about one action that you can take this year to strengthen your ethical decision making. Perhaps the action of reviewing the district policies, consulting colleagues when questions arise, or being more mindful of professional boundaries. Every ethical decision contributes to a culture of trust and professionalism. Thank you for your participation in our Ethics in Action training tonight. And thank you for continuing to serve our students and community with excellence.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions for me before we leave?
Um, my world is a little bit different, you know. That's kind of a crazy story about the 16,000 that teacher got. You know, that's wild. I can't hardly believe that. The places that I face um, issues that might be questionable is um, like meals and things while I'm on trips. There's lots of times there'll be a stock show and somebody will offer to pay for my dinner and things. And there's lots of times that I do tell them, you know, um, thank you, I appreciate it, but you know, I'm on the school's dime here, so um, the school pays for my meals while I'm at these things, and I'm able to kind of get out of it that way because that's like you said, it would be perceived. Somebody else would see that and go, "Oh, well, they bought your meal, so you worked harder for them the next day." So that's kind of where I run into this.
And that's the correct way to look at it. And if you do have any future questions with anybody trying to buy your meals or any situations where they might give you a gift card or just some kind of reward, so to say, we can actually sit down and review the district and state policies on what do you accept and what you don't.
Yeah,
Little trinkets and tokens are okay, but you have to make sure the outward appearance doesn't look like a conflict of interest where a meal might. So
right.
you're handling that correctly.
Okay.
So, well, I appreciate you joining me for this Fast and Furious staff development. If you don't have any further questions, you are free to go. Make sure that you keep your hand out as a reminder in the future of how to handle situations. And I appreciate you participating.
All right. Thank you, Miss Darty.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
See.